Happy Monday, good people. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. How are you on this Labor Day holiday? It is the Labor Day holiday, y'all. We are in September. September day, well, actually, it's day 2 of September, but it's still September. It's a beautiful day. How are you? I am your girl, Coach TaShon, your marriage communication coach, coming to you live right here on YouTube and Coach Trinette's pages. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube. I am Trinette L. Collier, and to the business page, well, to the pages. All right. So listen, it is Monday. Welcome back to TLC community. I thank you all so much for hanging in there with me. Listen, for the last 2 months, we've been on 30-day journey of bridging the communication gap, right? And it's been really, really fun. And I hope that you all were able to take some nuggets. And if you still have not gotten your journal, you still need to get it for the next 30 days, okay? But I'm coming to you a little bit different for the month of September. Got you, I got you some tips and strategies for the last 2 months. So now we're going to continue part 2 of our conflict resolution as we recap and dig a little deeper into communication in marriage. So we're going to hit on a few topics. So this is why I need you to make sure that you are subscribed to the website, I am TrinetteLCollier.com, and the YouTube page, I am Trinette L. Collier. Okay, so listen, I got my notes. Y'all know I feel like a little news reporter because lesson planning. We got the plans together, So listen, I got that for you. And today we're going to talk about identifying emotional triggers. Now, again, we talked about this. We touched on it probably like that first month, and then we kind of dug a little bit deeper, but now we're going to go a little bit deeper, okay, with emotional triggers. And again, if you are ready to take that next step, if you absolutely know after last month and the month before, you're like, hey, Coach Trinette, I'm ready to move forward with you, go ahead, click that link in the description. It'll take you straight to the TLC couples coaching. There for the month of September, $777 for 7 sessions. And I'll talk more about that afterwards. But if you absolutely know that you are ready, let's go ahead and get you scheduled. Okay. So listen, we are talking about identifying emotional triggers. Y'all. We got to get a hold on these emotional triggers. Okay. Now, listen, we've been married 7 years plus, right? 7 years plus. And if you followed me yesterday, I went over and explained to you what the significance was of the 7 year plus, why I am coaching marriages 7 years plus. Okay, so make sure you go back on the page and get that information. I got you. All right. So listen, I want you to take your notes. I'm letting you get your notes, get your journal, notepad, all of that. And let's get ready to jot these down, okay? Because again, in order for our relationship to work, guess what you have to do? You got to do the work, right? I am your marriage communication coach, and I'm here to provide support for you, but you ultimately got to do the work, okay? So let's go ahead and here are 5 short and simple ways to identify and manage your emotional triggers in conflict for your marriage, all right? Now, this is in my style, okay? Again, what do I tell you all? I don't like stress, and I definitely don't want you all to be stressed out. So that's why I give you short and attainable goals and strategies and steps, right? So that you can achieve this. I want you to win. So I don't want to stress you out. I'm not going to stress you out, okay? That's how I work as a coach. All right. So listen, number one, I want you to pause and reflect. What does that simply mean? When you're in a conflict, right? The emotions flare. We all been there, done that. Been there, done that. We get a little rowdy, we elevate, the tone escalate. We go a little higher, right? The emotions flare up. We And so we get get a little confused in our conversation, and our thoughts are just running rapid, right? Because we're ready to get it out. We're ready to get it out because we didn't necessarily like what our spouse said during the conflict. So we are ready. We're not even listening at this point, right? When it gets to that point. But this is where you will stop. You're going to pause and you're going to reflect. You take a moment to pause and ask yourself, what just triggered me? What was it that my spouse said or did that triggered me? And so while you're reflecting, this helps pinpoint the root cause before reacting. Okay. Remember, I talked about facial expressions. My facial expressions would trigger my husband, right? Because I am, again, my facial expressions can mean a lot, and I had to work on that. So I didn't understand. He would say that either it seemed like I was being sarcastic, or I didn't care, or whatever. But my facial expressions, when his brow goes up, it was like, okay. So I had to work on that. So that was a trigger for him during our conversations. And when we get into a conflict, the eyebrow go up. I wasn't listening, right? At this point, I'm not listening. I'm ready to react, and I'm ready to get whatever I need to say out, right? But once I started practicing on pausing and reflecting, I was able to see what he was seeing. And I'm just like, oh, so my facial expressions, it's a trigger, right? So I've learned to work on that, right? So that's what you're going to do. You're going to pause and reflect. Now, again, this is a practice. This is something that you have to practice daily, because I had to practice this day after day after day after day. And I still practice it because I want to make sure that I'm continuing to operate in that behavior, that new behavior, right? So I have to pause and reflect, because me instantly want to react. And that's not what you need to do. Okay. So number one, you're going to pause and reflect. Now, number two, you're going to communicate your triggers. What does that mean? That simply means openly share with your spouse what triggers you. This transparency fosters understanding and prevents unnecessary conflict. That's it. You have to talk to your spouse. You have to be honest. If you sit there and pretend like it's nothing triggering you, but then later on you're like, that triggered me, your spouse is not going to understand or won't know what triggered them, right? So at that moment, now I don't want you all you know, trigger has, in a sense, has become a trending word, right? So you need to be careful of what triggers you. You have to honestly have that talk, because now if you're throughout the conversation and every time your spouse opens their mouth and you say you're triggered, nah, that's manipulation. That you're using it as a manipulative tool, right? So no, you don't want to do that. But there are some things that will trigger you during a conflict. So you have to be open about it. You have to be transparent with your spouse, and you tell your spouse, listen, that triggered me. You not paying attention to me while I'm talking about something very important. That kind of triggered me, because I feel like I'm not being heard or seen. Okay, so you have to learn how to communicate that with your spouse. Okay, as long, again, you're responsible for yourself at this point in your conflict, during the conflict. But again, it's to make sure that you're bridging that communication gap by expressing what you are feeling. Because again, if you don't express it, if you don't get it out, how else will your spouse know? Okay. So you have to work with each other on this. Don't do the silent treatment. Don't I ain't gonna just say, I ain't gonna say nothing. I bump it. I ain't gonna do nothing. I ain't gonna say nothing. Don't do that. No. Because all it does is it continues the cycle, right? And you're never going to resolve the conflict. Okay. Number three, practice deep breathing. Y'all don't underestimate breathing. Okay. We take for granted sometimes we're just breathing. But when you're doing that deep breathing, When you feel triggered, use deep breathing to calm you down, calm your mind and your body. It helps in managing your emotions and responding to the conversation. It brings you clarity. Now, one thing I do use, one resource I use essential oils when I feel like the conversation is going to be a little bit maybe uneasy, uncomfortable conversation. And so that I can get so I can get my point across or whatnot, I will put like some lavender oil or some type of essential oil, common oil in the palm of my hand, right? And so that allows me to keep calm, and then I could take a sniff of it and it actually calms me down. So therefore, I am calm. I'm not ready to react during a conflict, because again, you will have some conflict. You can have some healthy conflicts. There may be some decisions that both of you have to make, and you're really not understanding, or you don't not sure, and it can sometimes the conversation can be misconstrued, and then you're like both like, okay, we're on the same page, but we're not hearing each other, whatnot. And that's normal until you get to learn each other again during the conflict. So therefore, you have to take these steps. So the deep breathing, when you're sitting there and you're listening to each other, just breathe and let your spouse know, let me take a moment to breathe. Let me inhale and then exhale, right? You're not being sarcastic with it, like, I'm gonna breathe. No, you're literally, cannot let me breathe for a moment. Give me 10 seconds. And you're going to breathe right there. You're going to inhale and you're going to exhale. If you have to do it about, a few times, 3 or 4 times, you're going to deep breathe, right? Again, that brings in clarity, because at this moment, you're like, okay, let's see. Going back to that pause and reflect. Okay. So deep breathing, practice deep breathing. And again, you have to practice these. You have to practice. Okay. Number 4, you're going to set the boundaries. Gotta set those boundaries. Establish boundaries around sensitive topics. Agree on a safe space to discuss triggers, ensuring both partners feel respected and heard. We talked about this before. Somewhere in your home, you have to create that safe space where you can have these conversations. There are going to be some sensitive and uncomfortable conversations that you must have. Finances can be one of them, right? The children, your career, anything that you're not used to talking to each other about, or you're having some challenges in it, it can be a very sensitive topic. However, you still have to communicate that, but you have to create the boundaries, get those code words. What did I tell you before? Get the code words in, right? And that's part of that boundary. So when you feel the temperature rising, when you feel like, okay, I can't breathe no more. I can't deep breathe no more. Get a code word in, get the boundaries in, but you must create that safe space in your home. And that safe space can be the kitchen, that safe space can be the bathroom, that safe space can be your bedroom, that safe space can be in the car, right? That safe space can be in your backyard or at an ice cream shop, somewhere where now some conversations you may not be able to have on the outside of your home, right, because of privacy and whatnot, but in your home you have to create that safe space for the both of you. So you know that this space right here, this is me and you, buddy, me and you. So we're going to be honest with each other, we're going to respect each other while we're having this conversation. Okay, that's all part of setting that boundary for the conflict. Okay. And number 5, you're going to seek understanding and not blame. Y'all, we cannot continue to blame each other. Instead of blaming, seek to understand each other's triggers. Approach conflicts with empathy and a desire to grow together, not apart. This is the end goal. You don't want to keep having conflict. You don't want to keep having unhealthy conflict, right? Your end goal is to grow together. Your end goal is to tackle that problem. Remember, you're not tackling each other. You're on a team. You're a team, right? You are not an individual, you're a team. So you're going to tackle that issue, not each other. You have to remember that. Do not tackle each other. You're going to tackle the problem, the conflict, right? And so your goal is to do this together, not apart. So don't do the whole blame game. If there's some finances that's been messed up in the moment, don't do the blame game. It's easy to blame. You shouldn't have done that. You the one that made that purchase. You did it. You. You have to change that around and use those I statements. We. You have to use the I statements and the we statements because you are a team. That is you are a team. Okay. That is what it's all about. Because again, somewhere in that situation, it was the both of you, believe it or not, right? Somewhere. Now, again, we're not doing the whole blame game. And that's what's been happening in our marriages. We've been so used to blaming each other versus taking a step back and say, you know what? What can we do? And what can I do to help us get to a healthy conflict, a healthy resolution? Okay. So again, seek the understanding. Don't do the blame game. Y'all been in this thing 7 years plus, y'all. Been in this thing together. You've been through thick and thin. You've been through a lot of stuff together, right? So no more unhealthy conflict. Okay. Let's bridge this communication gap. All right. So listen, if you are ready to take that next step, when you absolutely know for sure you are ready, go ahead and click that link in the description. It will take you straight to the TLC Couples Coaching on bridging the communication gap. And listen, I have this special offer. Special offer, 7 personalized sessions, y'all. Seven personalized sessions that include effective strategies and resources to reignite your connection. And to top it off, you get me. You get me on this journey. So I'm not just going to give you something and be like, oh, you can't contact me. No, 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 no. I am with you from the beginning to the end of your session with this offer. And it's only $777. You cannot beat that. You cannot. Because again, you get me one-on-one with you and your boo. Okay? So if you are absolutely ready to take that next step, go ahead and book your offer. Go ahead and go onto the website, click that link right there that takes you directly. So there won't be any excuses. I can't find it, coach. That link will take you directly to that offer. Okay. So listen, make sure you go on to the website, stay connected. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube page or the website, do so now because all of the content about marriage and communication will be on, or it's on the website, okay, including the upcoming events, you guys, the upcoming events. So stay connected for our fireside chat, which will be taking place on Saturday, September 28th. At 5 o'clock online. All of the fireside chats are online. I have it's the wives edition, meaning the wives are on the panel. Okay, so it's open to the public, but it's the wives edition. Okay, so tickets go on sale next Sunday, September the 8th. And that way again, it's on the website under events. I got you. I got you. Okay. So remember, in order to bridge the communication gap, you got to do the work. Nothing else to it. You got to do the work. You got to do the work. Even if your spouse is not quite on board, you got to do the work. Okay. You continue to do it. Okay. I'm going to encourage you. You continue to do it because our end goal is for you to bridge that communication gap. All right. So I thank you all so much for joining me. Make sure again you subscribe and yeah, come and join me. We're gonna rock this thing out, y'all. All right. So until tomorrow for Talk It Out Tuesday, go ahead and DM me your questions. What do you want to talk about? What questions do you have about marriage, relationships, communication? What do you want to ask? This is your moment where you get to come on in and talk live on IG at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow for Talk It Out Tuesday. All right. So until tomorrow, I love you. Peace.